When I was in Somalia, I was a journalist, and I was really reporting a big newspaper as a freelancer and a news TV reporter. But usually, when you are doing your job, it is a really rough day. That day, you are doing your job, you are reporting, you are taking notes, you are taking whether conference, whether government announcement. Always, they will tell you what to do. You don't have right, you don't have to tell whatever you wanted, whatever is right. You have to listen and you have to tell what they wanted. The government, at that time, it was a really dictatorship and it's a really harsh time. Many of us were murdered, many of us were jailed, many of us were harassed, many of us were sent outside of the country as an exile. But in Somalia, it's a really threat. If you are doing your own job, as a journalist, it's not easy to be a journalist in Somalia because either you have to with the government or you have to be outside of the country because you can't survive in Somalia as a journalist. After even the civil war, when the civil war broke, there is warlords, there is a small groups. After Al-Qaeda, affiliated Al-Shabaab, always you are threat. But luckily, I'm survived, but my all friends, I can't count how many were murdered, were beat to death, were exiled, still struggling to survive, still in somewhere, most of them, they forget their job, what they are doing as a journalist. They really change their life, they change their career because they can't survive. You cannot survive as a journalist in Somalia because you have to be either way. You have to be struggle in life, or you have to be with the group, at that group, whatever group you are. But luckily, I survived, and I have really to be a journalist in Somalia. It's not a real dream. It's a real nightmare because whatever you say, you toasted, you get killed, you arrested, you harassed, you get murdered, whatever. Even not only yourself, even your family. But that is totally different. But really, I'm survived and I'm really in Canada. And I can really see my life here and my future, even my own grandchildren in the future. I can see really a good bride. But everything, always as a journalist, no matter what way you are, you have always a conscience what you are doing. Even in a democratic country, whatever you say, you have to be really watch what you're doing. Journalism is not a as you see now, if you say something in a democratic way in this country, you travel abroad, you always target it because you said something, and you always really, you have to be there always. You cannot travel. Once you travel, you cannot get reported in other place unless you have to have somebody outside. But just it is not an easy job to be a journalist in this